Good evening, Nigeria, and welcome to Politics Now on LN 24/7, live from our studio here in Abuja. I am Morno Balagbobo, bringing you the pulse of the nation's political landscape. But before we dive into today's conversation, let's tell you that President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerians to use new media to promote unity, compassion, patriotism, rather than division during his speech earlier today at the Progressive Digital Media Summit in Abuja, themed unveiling the critical role of new media in national development. The summit highlighted the role of digital platforms in driving progress, creating jobs, and empowering communities. Tinubu praised Nigerian youths for their creativity and ambition in building digital platforms and communities, emphasizing their role in shaping the future. He cautioned against the spread of misinformation and encouraged responsible use of digital tools to foster unity, inspire, and solve problems. The president reaffirmed his administration's commitment to enhancing digital infrastructure, expanding broadband access, and supporting innovation through initiatives like the National Digital Forum and ensuring cybersecurity. He also urged youths to use their platforms for a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday to Friday. The exercise targets Nigerians who have reached voting age or missed previous registration. It also allows for voter transfer request replacements of lost or damaged permanent voter cards and corrections to personal details. INEC also emphasized its commitment to transparent, accessible, and inclusive electoral process to ensure all Nigerians can exercise their civic rights. And finally, some good news tonight. The National Association of the Nigerian Nurses and Midwives has suspended its nationwide warning strike. This was announced by the Health Minister, Ali Pate, earlier today, and of course they reached an agreement in Abuja. The strike began on July 29th. I was scheduled to speak with the secretary of the association tonight, but that has been, there is no use for that since the minister has announced that, of course, the strike has been called off. And of course, it talked about better working conditions, separate salary structure, increased core duty allowance, mass employment for nurses, and a dedicated nursing department in the Federal Ministry of Health. The union leaders did not comment after the meeting, and the strike followed a 15-day ultimatum issued on the 14th of July with the union's national chairman, Morakiya Rilwan, previously noting the government's lack of engagement during that period. Well, let's get to the business of tonight. Our focus is on Nigeria's opposition politics ahead of 2027. You would recall that the past few weeks has just been so agog with news of 2027, so much. I mean, the conversation about 2027 is practically overshadowing every other conversation that is needful talking about governance. But let's look at our talking points. We'll look at the leadership fractures. Can SDP, ADC, and PDP resolve internal splits? And defections and coalitions, do big names strengthen or destabilize? Talking about rebuilding trust, how can SDP, ADC, and PDP win Nigeria's youth? Our guests are live with us virtually. Chris Ojiekere, SDP Publicity Secretary in Ondo State, will be joining us live if we can see him fine, but he will definitely be with us during the course of the conversation. Also, Uthman Tochukwu, a legal practitioner and, of course, a member of the ADC, is live with us from Enugu. Good evening, Uthman, and thank you so much for being with us on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me, Mona.
I can't hear you. Perhaps our team will help us work on your audio. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I can hear you very well.
Okay, that's great. Also, Barrister Anthony Ehilebo, a PDP veteran and also a legal practitioner, joins us virtually from Abuja. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being with us on Politics Now tonight. Hello, Anthony, are you there?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I don't know if your audio is.
Okay, I can hear you clearly. We have good visuals of you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us on the conversation tonight. Now, before we begin to talk about your respective political parties, something interesting happened yesterday at the NEC meeting. Of course, that was on Thursday, the 150th National Economic Council meeting in Abuja. President Tinubu called on governors to prioritize rural electrification, agricultural mechanization, poverty eradication, and infrastructure under the renewed Hope World Development Program. He said, let us change the story of our people in the rural areas, pushing for a $1 trillion economy by 2020. And of course, with Nigeria's growth below 4%, Tinubu's call challenges the opposition to step up. So let's start with Uthman. I mean, I'm sure you followed this development. The APC has been priding itself, saying the economy is working, and the government or spokespersons keep pushing this narrative that, I mean, you all in the opposition political parties practically have no chance in 2027. But, I mean, the call from the president to the governors is really striking because he's pumping a lot of money, their FAC allocations to these governors, but they are not delivering on their promises. What is your take on this? And most importantly, for your party, how are they going to drive this grassroots development, which is really key when you talk about politics in Nigeria? Quickly, let's just have your sound bites.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Very well. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, my goodness. I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Okay, did you get the question? Please go ahead.
Yes, I got the question. Honestly, it's not enough for Mr. President to sound a note of warning to the governors. When you give somebody money, it's expected that you should provide means through which you can monitor whether or not the person has utilized the money. And if there is no utilization of the fund accordingly, there should be sanctions, right? And whether the economy is working, you don't need anybody to tell you whether the economy is working. Go and meet average Nigerians in the market and see how they are faring. See how Nigerians are faring, whether things are working or not. They will tell you. It's Nigerians that will tell you whether they are feeling well. It's not the government that will tell you that their economic policies are doing well. That's like speaking to something that is non-existent. If you want to really know whether Nigerians are doing well, you find out from Nigerians. You don't find out from government officials. Go and ask Nigerians how they are feeling in the market square, in the schools, in various places where they are. Even the average civil servant, ask them whether they are feeling well. They can tell you. They are the indices through which you can measure government and not government policies and not the government itself rating itself. You cannot be a judge in your own case.
This particular question and this development.
Is the question for me?
Yes, yes. I want to get your own thoughts talking about grassroots development, which is a major challenge for this administration. You heard Uthman talk about the fact that the president needs to come up with sanctions with governors. But how does that work when the president clearly needs these governors to secure 2027?
I mean, it's a very difficult question of whether you want to put the cat before the horse or the horse before the cat, or the chicken and the egg, which one came first, or which one comes first in this case. The president is more interested in returning in 2027. I think any planning entries out of the window. We're seeing this with the major economic indices. Our pocket expenditure in terms of our borrowing is at its high. We've just taken further and further loans We do not see the economic impact at the grassroots and at the very basic indications that you need to know that the government is working. I cannot. I used to travel between Abuja, Okene, Auchi, Benin City, take the and I can tell you that today that road, if unless you have guts of a very brave man, you would not want to travel those roads. First of all, the roads are bad. You want to talk about the insecurity on the roads. So again, that's our transport infrastructure that I have experienced. I don't need anybody to tell me because I know these roads are not functional. And what you would expect of a government that is said to be driven by a Democrat in terms of grassroots penetration, and this is what you're asking, and getting to the very basic. And I'm sure that's why this government appeared in its first few months to be very serious about an independent, autonomous government system, which state I come from, Edo State, immediately an alternative and another part, the ruling party at the center, power in the state, already elected local government chairmen were removed unceremoniously from office, chased out of it. I mean, judgments are coming in now saying they should reinstate them. You have judgments where the governor is even, or the government is trying to have another election before the tenure of those guys are over. And so you see that the essential of grassroots beneficiaries, being the local people, being the people who matter at the very big part of our society, do not get the sort of autonomy they should have in choosing the leaders that understand their problems and will help them fix it. And when it is chosen, it doesn't favor a particular government, it is removed. Now, let's come to 10 years ago. You used to have a government or governors who used to do peer review. I've seen a list of performing governors within the context of 1999 and 2025. And you have the names of Donald Duke, you have names of Fashola, more recently Akpabio before he left. Governance was seen as one of those people who went out to perform. But these days, you don't hear those sort of things. I know that the Tinubu government, when it came in, South itself giving governors the highest applications. But when you compare, you do the pure economics and you compare someone who is getting 20 billion a month in terms of what revenue from FAC, that's your naira. If you equate it to what a governor was getting 8 years ago, it is far less. So our economics and the data that is given is largely untrue and largely does not go. Again, this is where you have a discrepancy between the data set and how it's interpreted. So our people are not feeling the impact of God. Poverty is of its highest incursions into our national framework.
But
People are
Barrister Anthony,
poorer,
the big question
and
now will
healthcare is
be
out
what
of the
the
window.
opposition political parties can do. Sorry to cut you short there, but I wanted us to begin to look into the business of the day, and great points you have raised, but
Oh yeah,
how is opposition...
you did it up into the performance of this government, and I had to come back on the basic indices, the transport, healthcare, and all these things that are not there. And I think probably even going to where your question I see you're going is to start to answer you that even I, as a member of opposition party, will want my party, the People's Democratic Party, as it is today, to look at itself and introspect. We are not ready to hold this government to account, which is why Nigerians are celebrating of the and perhaps a short time before they came into the limelight, people celebrated the SDP as the vehicle that them, because my party has to provide, would I say, opposition. And this is because you have certain members who are now aligned with the center. We must hold ourselves to keep, when you asked me to come for it, I wanted me to come on because I'm not one of those people who cocoon the PDP, bury my nose in the sand and not say what it is. some of us are in
Okay,
politics because
Anthony, if you could hold that thought just for a little second.
Yes.
We also have Chris joining us from Edo State, if he's live with us. Good evening, Chris. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope he's been able to log in okay. His signal is frozen. We'll polish up that quickly. But away from that now, let's move the conversation forward and talk about all the drama that is going on within the political parties. I mean, you look at SDP, what is going on, just quite a lot of issues. And I'll come back to you, Anthony. The ADC, the anchor of new coalition, is fracturing. I recall on the 31st of July, Nafiu Bala Gombe declared himself as interim chairman, rejecting Senator David Mark's leadership, accusing outsiders of a takeover. And I mean, defectors like Dino Melaye is also feeling the fire. I mean, leaving the party. Also, Senator Olujimi from APC, I mean, moving to APC, Dino Melaye to ADC, with Peter Obi being eyed for a return. And a November convention in Ibadan aims to revive the PDP. But before we even talk about the PDP, I want to bring in Uthman to quickly react to what is going on in the ADC. I mean, we did not think that your political party will begin to have some of these internal cracks like we saw in Labour Party and like we've seen in PDP, with one party trying to claim leadership. But you're a legal expert. What do you make of this development?
You see, there is no any internal crisis in APC. What you see are just petty grievances by some set members of the party, which does not determine what happened at it. Cannot arrogate powers to yourself or authority to yourself. The party executive have sat and organized themselves in a manner that is approved by the constitution of the party. So whoever that is fighting against the party should go to court if you are dissatisfied with what is happening in the party. And let me tell you the fact. The fact is that what is happening in the party today is not even justiciable because it's a party affairs. It's a party affairs, and the court has ruled that political party affairs has no hands in trying to adjudicate over issues that concerns political party affairs. So some of those people who are arrogating themselves as the so-called chairman of ADC is just to bring distractions to the party, and we are we are we are forging ahead. We are trudging on regardless of the distractions. Those are petty grievances, and to resolve it. It's normal that even within family you have it, and we are going to resolve it as a family issue. There's no issue in ADC.
So from your Southwest lens, can the Ibadan Convention unify the PDP, or are the internal splits too deep? Anthony, are you there?
Yes, I am, and
Okay.
I'm responding to you.
So let's talk about the two big losses, Senator Dino Melaye in Kogi State and Senator Olujimi. Of course, he was on national television yesterday singing praises, I mean, to the APC, despite being critical of this government. And of course, you have the convention slated for Ibadan. So what's what's the hope, and what's going on within the PDP?
Well, I'm an incurable optimist, but I'm not.
Hello, Anthony, are you there with us? Hello, Anthony, are you there with us? Okay, okay. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
like
hear
I
you now.
Said, I welcome any other, like my brother, I welcome any other political engagement, and as much as possible as we can get. We see And I believe that politics is a vehicle for delivering good governance to the people. We do not have enough good people in politics. What you see are people who are in politics just to grab power. Now, if PDP, you mentioned you've done a good build-up to this particular question, and you asked about what about the people. I think PDP needs to go back to why it was formed. It was formed to take power and hand over to the people. At some point, they had that power and they forgot about the people. Since 2015, I've been a member of PDP. I've been a member of several reform committees that have sought to reform the party and reposition it as a beautiful bride to the Nigerian people. I think that's in motion. What I see is a lack of political will to do the right thing. For instance, and I will say it, the PDP must within its actions show to the people there that it is ready. It will within itself be disciplined. Within itself, it will keep to its ethics. It will keep to the guidelines of its constitution, and it will operate a framework that shows that when it now has to deal with the Nigerian people who have their best interests at heart, which means things that ought to be done and will be done in discipline, in terms of political governance, and doing the right thing. We've been through, it's almost like a deja vu. If you remember 2016, when we had the Sheriff saga, and where a chairman resigned or left the party, and supposed to present a chairman to stay until a convention have the handover of baton. Your man that almost made himself. Are you there? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Let me rephrase. If you can hear me, come
I
back
can
to me,
hear you
please.
clearly.
Yeah, so in 2016, we had the same issue of then the chairman Muazu from Bauchi State resigned and left the party. And then you had a problem where you had Alimodu Sharif come in and almost cause a fracas within the party. We had hoped that the party, several reform processes after that incident, learned its lesson. But it's apparent that these lessons are taking quite a while to dwell on the past. But I think if it gets its act right in October, it can then join forces. It can then join forces with the AD and the SDP and present a united position to the other. Personally, that's the only way 2027, and we are able to take Nigeria, because right now, with what they do, every fabric of our democracy, what's left is just day-to-day governance. The impact of governance, the ethos of the constitution, the ground norm, what to provide security is not there for our people. It doesn't provide social welfare, placing more burden on our people, taxes in terms of taxation, in terms of harder policies. Yes, it might have been removed subsidy at the time it did, but where are the safety nets? Where is safety net? In 2011, when the PDP government removed subsidy, you had Shopee, you had several interventions to cushion the economic effects on people. Today, even the CNG that they brought is very hard for people to.
Senator Olujimi answered, the journalist asked her that same question about the removal of fuel subsidy. And she said that, past administrations had just danced around the issue without really taking a full stance on it. So what is your response to that, since you are talking about the fact that the PDP had Shopee and other initiatives?
With all due respect to Senator Olujimi for observing good manners, table manners, to that table now, so you probably have to properly and speak well. But I'd like to say this. The removal subsidy was done without proper introspection, proper planning, fallback for Nigerians, economic planning. That decision alone has driven inflation to an unimaginable scale in Nigeria. When you have even a 21% increase, let me tell you, the Arab Spring that took our three leadership structures in the Middle East and some African countries happen over a $5 increase in the price of bread. Some guy went to Tehran and poured petrol on himself and burned himself. That is how the Arab Spring started. But here we are talking about petrol increase from 165 naira. Today it's 980 something naira. That's over 500% in energy increase. How many Nigerians can afford that? Has the salary scale morphed at the same rate with the cost of petrol or the cost of diesel or the cost of other energy sources? That hasn't.
Okay. We'll come back to you, Anthony. I want us to move back to Barrister Uthman quickly. I know you have close ties with Nasir El-Rufai, so we've been having challenges connecting with Chris, the publicity secretary of the SDP party in Edo State. So I'd like you to come in now. SDP banned El-Rufai last week for, they're accusing him of forging membership and pushing an unauthorized ADC coalition. And the Kaduna SDP claims he was registered, exposing chaos. And also rumors of Atiku, Obi, and Osibanjo eyeing SDPs, also adding fuel to the conversation about 2027. And also, ADC's July coalition welcomed Dino Milaye and Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar Botkombe, calls it a takeover. And of course, we were just talking about Olujimi, rather, from the PDP moving to the APC. But with Obi's return being rumored, this is raising concerns about, raising defection concerns. And away from that also, the recent SDP-PDP talks in Mina hint at coalitions, but SDP's openness to defectors like Atiku risks internal strain, mirroring ADC and PDP struggles. So let me come to Uthman. So what is your take, legally speaking, from, what El-Rufai is being faced with, this so-called suspension?
I do not have the full fact. So, and I will not rely on speculation to speak on what happened to Malam in SDP. Having said that, I think there were some clarifications from SDP in Kaduna. One of the members came to the press to say that it is a rumor that it should be discarded. Until that is disputed, I won't be speaking on that, because I will just take it as a rumor, because it's not possible that you are going to ban Malam for 30 years. Somebody who is already 65 and you are banning him for 30 years. For what offense? Because for every political party, the constitution has provided sanctions and the limits to the sanctions. So what has he done that will warrant SDP to sanction him for 30 years? So those are speculations, and I don't want to speak on that. Coming to issue of Dino Milaye and the rest of other people are expecting. Of course, we are expecting more people. We don't want to rely on they should not rush us. They shouldn't rush us. Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and the likes of them, they will come, and the media will have their feel of it. So they shouldn't rush them. They are going to come. Let us not rely on rumor and begin to.
Okay, now, but when you look at the permutations, Uthman, it seems as if everyone is just trying to find a place. It's like not putting your eggs in one basket. So how does the ADC separate itself from being that kind of tool whereby they just use to say, okay, we are neither here nor there? You heard PDP, I think Professor Jerry Ghana recently was making reference to the fact that the PDP should have a Southwest candidate, someone from the South, to take up the presidential candidacy for their party, and he is suggesting Peter Obi. Peter Obi is also, will I use the word prostituting? I think that's not really a good word, but associating himself with your party, and also El-Rufai in SDP.
Have said that he's not going back. Peter Obi has said that he's not going back to the PDP. That he said on public domain, and he said that he's working with the coalition. And
but
the coalition we know today,
do you take his word literally? Because these are politicians.
Why not?
So, but
why
you've
not?
not answered my question.
I trust on his words.
Why is your party being used like an egg of basket, where people can just have multiple options. How does your party have people who are committed and dedicated to them? Because this is not what should be dominated. If you ask me as a relations person, if a party really wants to differentiate itself, don't you think that having political stakeholders use your party as an option, whether they are in, they are out? I mean, in terms of garnering a loyal base for 2027, don't you think that affects your party?
I do not think so. I think differently. The reason is this. When you talk about strong opposition party in Nigeria today, you are looking out for coalition. And the coalition that is formidable right now as we speak is the ADC, African Democratic Congress. You can't talk of SDP, you can't talk of PDP. PDP, they are in shambles, and you could see how people are beginning to find their square root to another party. So if you want to talk about the real opposition party, you are talking about the coalition. And for the coalition have not settled yet. And we don't have independent candidacy in Nigeria. If you must vie for any political position in Nigeria, you need a vehicle through which you can be for that position, and that vehicle is a political platform. So, and if they don't have reliance in APC, they have to look for ADC, which is very reliable. So I do not think that there is any distraction anywhere. The party
Okay.
order and the
Let
party
me bring
is
in
really
Anthony to weigh in into this
positive.
conversation. Now, Anthony, I wanted to really come into this conversation because it seems to me like politicians are just waiting for anything that is available, not trying to commit here and there. And earlier, when we began this conversation tonight, we started talking about grassroots development, which the president wants to solidify with the need of the governors. If you have this kind of structure in place, how do you deal with the issue of grassroots development when you have people who are looking up to the party leaders to really find a headway, like the PDP, and now you have the likes of Jerry Ghana talking about welcoming Peter Obi back into the PDP. What is your take on that, when you also have the likes of Wike, who's still a bona fide member of the PDP? You also have Makinde, who is also a member of the PDP. I mean, I understand the rhetoric that Uthman was trying to talk about, in the sense that this is more of coalition talks now and not really about party. But do you think this could jeopardize the game for the opposition?
Well, I mean, there's still a long time, and they say a day is a very long time in politics. I welcome the ADC. I think the ADC is a welcome development. It perhaps even has made the PDP sit off my party. I will hazard a foretelling, I will hazard a prediction that Nigeria will see the interest of many, or a few. The collective interest of Nigeria will supersede the interest of a few people. And we will come up with something that works. I foresee the coalition is not complete yet. I think, like King said at the beginning of you want to see a coalition that is broad-based, a coalition that involves both the PDP and the SDP. There's a convention coming up in November. I see that convention of new leadership. ADC has just announced some of their leadership. And don't forget that most of these guys, especially outside the framework of APC, are friends or have been friends before. So I foresee a situation where, as we move closer to the election, what you have now are people identifying roles in several political parties. I foresee that a broader based coalition will happen just before the elections, where people will put the rest of Nigeria forward. And it's interesting to watch these dynamics play out. You have people trying to lure Peter Obi back for whatever purpose that Peter Obi has made on this. But that's not the first time he's made a comment and walked back comment. At some point, he said he will never leave Africa. But when push comes to shove, we can all put it on the interest of Nigeria. And when you say that, all things are covered, all things said before are passed. So I'm hoping that opportunity avails itself to him. But I see, for instance, where even members of the PDP, I asked They said, what do we call ourselves? We are people who are in PDP who want the best for the country, right? And we see what's happening within the party. You mentioned the names that are there. We're not happy with it. But we are not people who are flippant, who move right or left. Most of the people you mentioned, their names have gone from APC to PDP back to ADC. I have never left PDP. I find it hard to leave my home.
If I'm to take you back to some of the comments made by Damagun.
It doesn't mean I don't support the ideals of the coalition to unseat the APC. I am in full support of it.
But those in the affairs of leadership in your party do not even welcome the idea, because I recall the last stakeholders meeting that I was a part of. Damagun made it clear that if you want to go to another party, leave. You cannot be in one party and then you said you are in another party. And he said the word, I think that the leader of the PDP Governors Forum used, he used the word hermaphrodite. So your party leaders are not thinking like this. Do you think that is a problem? Do you think they don't get the picture that it will take a coalition to defeat APC in 2027?
The party leadership put us where current party leadership. I'm not afraid to tell you. I've never been one from putting blame squarely where it's supposed to be. This current crop of leadership have put PDP. PDP has lost over. Ever happened where a sitting government. We had Buhari there for how many years? PDP did not lose its governors. No, only Uthman defected as a sitting governor. Now we've had the governor of Delta State. We've had the governor of Cross Akwa Ibom State. That is one defection too many, and I have to blame squarely on the leadership, whether they like it or not. I'm not one person that shies away from telling them. And I've told them in 2016, there was a show, Benga Arueba. Of course, Nigerians will normally start from 10 we had a show that started by 11 o'clock. Here in PDP then, myself, we stood up, we went to that show. It started oddly, started by 11. Benga show starts by 10. I told the PDP and we told the party that bringing in Ali Modu Sharif was a mistake and that it will cause the party problems. 1 month later, I was in Port Harcourt. I saw it all play out. I got to let the party for 1 year, 6 months. We were in court trying to sort out Ali Modu Sharif's mess. Who were the people that brought him in? People that again. And wicked. It's them people. So it's not a new thing to speak up within. Hope the party finds its momentum. People love the PDP. PDP is a household name. But I see now that we must form a reliable coalition and people must drop their ambition to rescue Nigeria. This is about Nigeria. It is not about PDP, APC, or ADC. Now it must be about Nigeria. It must be about a way to take our economy from the brink that it is. Our economy is fast stretched with borrowing. Our people do not have enough money to even buy petrol or energy or their energy costs, whether it's gas, whether it's, they are basically struggling from hand to mouth. The farming communities in Nigeria have reduced from about 800 to about 200 and something, which means we're not even producing enough ourselves. Most of the local farmers that you have in the food basket of Nigeria, which is Benue State, Nasarawa, those regions, you have mostly migrated towards the south. I say this because I try to find out from my friends who have farms in the south, and the workers there are all from Benue. So we've had a critical mass migration of farmers who have house soil, who have left soil that has been left and are now displaced. The food costs rising, and nobody is dealing with this issue. We talk about political parties. I always say this at any political party meeting I go to, and whenever I come on this show, it is not about. It is about the interest of Nigeria.
Okay, Anthony, if I may come in. All right. Let me bring in Uthman now. ADC coalition is being mocked as a joke by APC, and Gombe's revolt damages its image. The big question is, can your party deliver for the youth? The last time that former Minister for Sports was here in our studios, I asked him a question about ideology. I also asked him about policies. And he said, oh, it's too early to start having talks of policy, what we want to do. It is still in the pipeline and all of that. But do you think that it is high time that the ADC begins to, reel out some of its policy plans for 2027? Because right now the APC seems to have the ground in terms of what do these people really want to offer? What makes these people, different from persons who simply just want to take a hold of power rather than having something tangible to do for the Nigerian people?
I think the question should have been framed the other way around. What has
For
the
the
APC
APC?
offered Nigerians?
The question should
Yes,
be framed for the
what has
APC.
APC? Yeah, what has APC offered Nigerians that Nigerians cannot do without them and try new things? I think we are living in the fear of trying new things. That is what is happening to Nigerians. We can actually disassociate ourselves from this. Have Nigeria gotten better in the last 2 years since the present administration took over power? The question is, has Nigeria gotten better? Is it at the borrowing level of this government? This government has borrowed us into abject poverty. We are talking about removal of fuel subsidy to save money, but we are still borrowing. What has Nigeria gotten themselves into in terms of this administration? So, if we want to ask this question, whether ADC can deliver Nigerian youth, or whether Nigerian youth can rely on ADC to deliver good governance, the question should have been, what has APC given to Nigerians that we cannot depart from them?
Okay, so from what you have said now, since the APC doesn't really have anything to offer, or they are not really offering something optimal for the Nigerian people, what will the ADC bring to the table? It's a valid question. And the likes of Bayo Onanuga, the likes of Daniel Bwala are pushing that narrative. And people who think would want to ask the question, really,
Yeah,
what are these
Bwala,
people bringing to the table,
all
apart from just saying we are having coalition?
with all due respect to Bwala and Mr. Bayo Onanuga, they are speaking for the presidency, and we do not expect anything less from them. They are doing their jobs, and are being paid to do their job very well. But what I'm telling you is that Nigerians are ready to try new things. Nigerians are ready to depart from APC. Nigerians are ready to depart from this government that borrowed itself into poverty. Nigerians are getting poorer and poorer every day, and we're talking about removal of fuel subsidy to save money, and we have not saved even a dime. Where are the money that we have saved from subsidy? Nigerians are suffering, and we're here playing politics. Like my brother said, that it's not about the politics or who takes over power. It's about Nigeria. We need to put all our interests aside and bring interests of Nigeria to fore, whether ADC, whether PDP, whether SDP. As far as the opposition is concerned and this issue of coalition, we must have to bring Nigeria to fore to save Nigeria. It is very critical at this moment. This is not time for politics. It is very obvious that the APC does not have solution to Nigeria's problem, and it is time that Nigeria should do away with them and try new things. ADC is bringing a different kind of leadership to Nigeria, and it is time that Nigeria should give them opportunity to see what is new from ADC.
All right. Well, let me get back to Anthony now. The new APC chairman has, vowed that he's going all out for other governors to come into the APC fold. Let's hope that, November is still, it's still a couple of days from now. A few months, I must say. But what really needs to be solidified in the PDP before that convention, where, of course, every stakeholder from across the country will be in Ibadan? What really needs to change? Because I see that you're a man of integrity, because you are still in your party, you're still loyal despite all the drama. But what are your expectations? What do you think really needs to change before that time and before the new APC chairman begins to bring in more governors into the APC fold?
If you say, I'm one person that had the opportunity to lead. I had the perfect opportunity. You won't believe that having served the PDP, because I raised an issue of a governorship candidate retaining his position as secretary, some lady in PDP decided to write a disclaimer. And yesterday, I kept quiet for about 2 years about what she has done. And when I raised the issue against her, she He removed me from a PDP platform. And I laughed. And I said, look, you really don't even understand. And this person is even incapable of using one single vote. Listen, I'm a hardcore grassroots politician. I tend to a unit, I tend to a ward, I tend to a local government. And I deliver my vote. In the last election, I won my unit, my ward, and my local government. The rest can be said to even the governor of my state did not win his local government. So when politicians begin to act like they don't understand the yearnings of Nigeria, they will learn a lesson in 2027. Because I can tell you, no matter where the fleet goes, just like 2023, when you had people who were devoted to Peter Obi, who you call the obedient, without a structure or anything, they gave Peter Obi almost 6 million. That's going to happen. You're going to see people in APC, you're going to see people in PDP, you're going to see people in SDP, because they have seen the transparency in which, and again, my dear brother from ADC, you all have to watch this political party. We must get them to act right. We must get them to put processes in place that are forthright. Not that we are supporting any. I will never support a political party anymore if that political party does not do the right thing. I remain in the party. You bring a candidate, I will go there and on election day cast my vote for the party, which is what I'm obligated to do as a full party person. But what we will not do is continue to indulge careless behavior that does not entrench democracy, internal party democracy.
Okay.
And following the will of the people, so that you can, in turn, when you face the people, because when you are internalizing your policies, and your policy is fair to those that are inside, it is most likely by the time you come out with your outward policy, it then means that you will deliver to the people what you are supposed to deliver to them. But until that happens, some of us will remain in the party. I don't believe that you can clean a party from outside. You have to try and do it from inside. We've been trying for years to get the party to policy. I've served in several reform committees that the PDP has had. Any national reform committee, including the constitutional amendment of 17, I was part of that. And I will continue to put in my best for the party, as so with other people. But we want the party, that the party must do what is right. If not, if ADC gives us a candidate that is what is, why will I go and waste my time endorsing failure? That's what they will see from Nigeria.
All right. I'll come back to you with the question I'm about to pose to Uthman. So, Uthman, there's been this conversation about, the North is not benefiting enough from the APC-led administration, and a lot of persons like those in the Arewa Consultative Forum and other political stakeholders have been speaking about the North not being really satisfied with what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing. Now, for some of us who are political strategists, I mean, it could seem as if this is an opportunity for the opposition to really take on this narrative and provide evidence-based responses to the spokespersons of the government who have been saying a lot about what the president is doing in the North, despite all of these complaints. Now, how does this play to the advantage of the ADC? How will the ADC use this against this present administration?
It's important for me to sound note of warning that I don't speak for ADC.
No,
right?
you're speaking for
so that
ADC.
They don't go and quote me.
I'm not asking you to speak for APC. I'm asking you to speak for ADC, your party. What will you do with this information? How will you consolidate? That is what I'm asking you, sir.
That's what I'm saying. ADC. I'm not the spokesperson for ADC. So I speak for ADC officially, so that I don't go and be misquoted.
Okay, tell us your opinions.
I think that's better.
Okay.
That's better when I share my opinions, so that people will not take me out of context that I speak for the party.
I wouldn't do that. Of course, the opinions shared on the program is strictly those of those who come on the show. So please go ahead.
You see, whatever the North has alleged is a statement of fact. And I think it's an opportunity for the opposition to ride on that statement to hit hard on the administration, because the essence of democracy is for people to have qualitative opposition that can hit on the administration and bring it to his knees. Now, if the opposition can gather facts on this issue raised by some northern cabals about the administration not working in favor of the North, it's a good thing for democracy. It's a good thing for democracy, and I think that the opposition is working hard on that to bring up issues against the administration. Well, what should be noted is that whether the APC or the administration is working for the North, the facts are there to speak for itself. Nobody is alleging what does not exist. Whatever they have alleged does exist. But of course, they cannot stand defenseless. The APC would like to defend it, because whatever you say against the administration, there are people that are being paid to do their job to defend it. So certainly defend it. It's not like you are just going to make an open allegation and they will be looking at you. They are going to defend it. But certainly we know that you cannot make an empty allegation without some factual existence on such allegations.
Because of time, let's quickly bring in Anthony to quickly share his thoughts. I mean, this is a conversation that is everywhere. This whole issue of North. The president is not doing enough for the North. And the agencies and the spokespersons of government, of course, as you're aware, have been trying to pull down that narrative. How real is it for you? And as a strategy for your party, I'm not asking you to speak for your party, but your opinions, how do you consolidate on that to continue to fuel your attack against this administration ahead of 2027?
Well, first of all, when you put it as an attack, nobody is attacking anybody. What we'd rather like to see is a better performance of government in terms of appointments, a bit related. I think the president has been very unfair to certain regions of the country, the north and the southeast. Most of his appointments have been domiciled in the southwest, as people now refer to him as a Lagos president. Most of the people he has appointed are from Lagos. And so, if the north is complaining, it's because they feel it's in severe lack of governance reach. I do not think that his point man in the north, which should be the vice president, has been given the opportunity to reach out and assuage the feelings. He is supposed to be the point man of the president. I do not understand the rift between both, or if there is one now, why he's not active in engaging the North and finding out what can be done to provide so-called to them. It is quite clear that the North suffers serious issues of insecurity. Benue State is a North Central state, which has been ravaged seriously. And this North we're talking about suffering this has gone from the Northeast to the North Central, and now we see issues within the Northwest. You have states like Kaduna State really feeling the brunt of no longer headsmen, but very interesting coinage, bandits, who have now shown they have capacity to engage the Nigerian army. I think that a lot more can be done. I think that focus should be on that. We also hope that we begin to feel that everybody who is a citizen of Nigeria feels that there's no differentiation in terms of access to all the facilities governments or all the opportunities government can provide across the board. But if the North is complaining, then they have a fair right to complain that they've not been treated well. But I also will remember that during the Buhari tenure, the South also complained. So it might just be a general assumption. But let us call it spade a spade. We've not seen a lot of activities around the vice president who is from the Northeast. We've not seen him traversing the corridors of the North Even as much as the president's son in recent times is more prominent in reaching out to the North.
Than even the
But to
vice
reach out to the
president.
people,
Well, Anthony, we're running out of time. We'll really have to, just draw the curtain on the conversation here tonight. I want to thank you so much for being with us on the show tonight.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being with you.
All right. Also, I guess Uthman Tochukwu, thank you so much for making time to join us. I know you had a busy schedule today in Enugu State.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on the show tonight. Well, that is the much we can take for the conversation tonight. And of course, the build up to 2027 is real. The conversation is dominating everywhere in the country. The big problem, though, is how it's overshadowing governance. And it was quite interesting to see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu really bring back the conversation to how the grassroots can really benefit from the dividends of his governance, giving that charge to them yesterday about really going through to the rural areas to ensure electricity, agricultural productivity, all of this is properly working. But what are you going to do as an individual to give that charge to your local governor to do the needful to ensure that you actually benefit from the dividends of this administration? We'll continue to follow the conversation right here as the build-up continues to trail the 2027 conversations. I want to thank you so much for watching tonight. Be rest assured that you can go to our website, www.ln247.news, for more news stories, and you can click on our politics category there to get more stories in the world of politics. Once again, my name is Moino Balagugu. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.